Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 12 of our F125 My Team Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here for the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Of course, my home race, technically Callum Voisin's home race, the team's home race as well. We're back finally here. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live yesterday from Austria, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. It was arguably the weirdest race we've had so far inside this game. Changeable conditions kind of created a little bit of drama right at the end there, but unfortunately time safety car denied us from getting a big result. Lando Norris still at 34 clear of Max Verstappen at the top of the Drivers' World Championship. Charles Leclerc up to P3 ahead of Oscar Piastri. We are still in P9 at the moment, just behind those two Mercedes cars, as the team currently sit P5 in the Constructors. Still waiting for Dennis Hauger to actually score some points inside this game, but I'm hoping very soon that we might be able to try and hire Isaac Hadjar into the team as well. Of course, I believe it should be driver transfer window after this Grand Prix, so that's exactly what obviously we're going to be aiming to do as well. They're desperately trying to get more and more upgrades onto the car as well inside this game. There seems to be a little bit of a balancing glitch, I'm going to call it, of you earn a lot of R&D inside this game. We've got a lot of cash as well, but you can't do enough stuff to kind of spend all of it. So we're kind of sat with a lot of cash and a lot of R&D at the moment, but time clearly is the greatest constraint inside F125. If that isn't quite philosophical, I don't know what is. But yeah, without further ado then, let's return here to Silverstone. Hopefully we can get more points on the board.
Welcome along everybody to a venue that was built for speed. Once an airfield, now one of the finest racetracks in the world. It's qualifying day here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Oh no, by the time we get towards the end of the session, the team have told me the dries now were the way to go in this session, but everybody else still out there and improving on intermediates. Why on earth did I listen to Mark? Certainly feels like we're getting closer. In fact, the track is getting drier. Yeah, Gasly looks like he's going to make it through into Q2, but we've also got a lot of traffic to contend with as we try and get this last ditch run done. They're like Fernando Alonso here, I believe, back in 2017. Tried to do the impossible and did make it through and into Q2. Max Verstappen will rocket up to the top of the board. Looks like Charles Leclerc is now in the drop zone, but actually, I tell you what, you look at that through the first few corners, we've got the speed. Well, we've just got to be super careful that the AI don't block our line in the second half of the lap. We already had issues with Oscar Piastri in free practice doing that, but I mean, look at the grip we've got as we make our way through Maggots and Beckett's then. Try and just slowly rotate the car through. Carlos Sainz jumps out of the way. 5 seconds up though, and we are still up on the delta against everybody else then. Not fastest through sector 2, so you've got to be very, very careful in towards these final few corners. What is Isaac Hadjar doing? Forces me out onto the wet stuff, and there's no grip there. Hello? I'm alongside you, mate. How on earth has he not spotted me? We've lost a little bit of time making our way through those final couple of corners because of it, but out of the final turn, surely this is still going to be enough to see us into Q2. I think it is P11. Well, there we are then. What might be one of the most dramatic ends to a lap you'll ever see in Formula 1. Got blocked by a slower car and then binned it as we went across the line. But we will make it through into Q2 then. Clearly the pace was there in the car. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, he'll be gutted out in Q1. Nico Hulkenberg has often done well in qualifying as well. But Dennis Hauger, Isaac Hadjar, Stroll and Ocon, they're not so surprising. Well, into Q2 then, we've obviously only got the one set of the soft compound tyres, and the track is ramping up rapidly towards the end of the session. The sun is not really shining down on the circuit, but it is certainly getting warmer and warmer here. I believe it's Liam Lawson currently fastest in Q2. That would be certainly a turnout for the books around this venue, but yeah, everybody though is going to be rapidly improving by the end of this session, but at least we kind of get a fair representative of what the car is actually capable of here in Q2. As always, the Gulf livery looks fantastic, whatever the weather inside F125 there, but you just see we can get the power down properly on the exit of the loop now. Ollie Behrman on the 29.8. That is the sector time we're aiming for in sector 1. We got 1.6 seconds quicker. Again, I think this is going to be a session of everybody trying to improve as we are going to see more and more lap times coming on the board. We didn't go purple, though, through Sector 1 that time, so it makes me believe here that a lot of cars are going to be setting purple lap times here. It's up into the old turn 1. It's going to be wide open in 8th gear there. Complete confidence in the car will stick, and then use a little bit of battery on the exit just to carry the speed up and through Maggots, Beckett's. Of course, the rest of this section, Alex Albon, that's a good lap time. George Russell goes even quicker, though, in his Mercedes. Charles Leclerc, purple times are flooding in late on in this session. Well, this, yeah, like I said, is one of those qualifyings where you're going to see some really, really big surprises. Verstappen now down into the drop zone temporarily. Lewis Hamilton as well in the drop zone. So could we see the 9-time winner here out in Q2? Through the final corner we will go. It's felt like a pretty hooked up lap. Will it be enough to see us into Q3? No, it won't. P16 after all of that. Well, there we go then. Both Alpines will make it through into Q2 when all is said and done. I guess the big surprise there, Yuki Tsunoda unable to see Q2, and after Liam Lawson was fastest earlier on in the session, ends up 15th place here. So just how quickly those track conditions were changing around this circuit. A little bit worried to be a second off the V car, but it wasn't my greatest lap in the world. Let's just focus on the race, because just like Austria, rain is meant to arrive by the end of the afternoon.
Welcome everyone as you join us at a former Second World War aircraft base, now converted into one of the great motor racing tracks. Britain is one of only 2 countries to have held a Grand Prix in every year of the Formula 1 World Championship, and long may that continue. This is Silverstone, and this is the British Grand Prix. The 3.6-mile-long Silverstone circuit is one of the longest of the season, with 18 corners in the current layout. With average lap speeds reaching around 145 miles per hour, it's also one of the quickest tracks of the year. Watch out for cars taking the right-handers of Abbey and of Copse flat out. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Norris, George Russell and Piastri, Gasly, Sainz, Fernando Alonso and Jack Doohan, Behrman, Tsunoda, Gabriel Bortoleto and Albon, Lawson, Voisin, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll, Antonelli, Halger, Hadja and Nico Hülkenberg rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me here today in the commentary box, Anthony Davidson. As many people expected, our 11th team have struggled a bit this season, but there is a light at the end of the wind tunnel maybe for them, in that they'll get more time in that tunnel for next year.
Very good, Crofty, very good. And that's exactly true. You know, they'll have a lot more time than teams that have done better than them in the championship, and it all adds up. That extra time you can spend in the wind tunnel, that's performance. And the top teams would be loving, wishing that they had that time. But it goes to this team. It hasn't been easy for them, like you say, but there is that silver lining.
Well, there we go. Yeah, very interesting. Obviously, Crofty and Anthony Davidson talking about the wind tunnel testing time. Obviously, we've actually, where we've moved up the order, we haven't got as much of that time anymore because we're doing pretty well in the Constructors' Championship so far. But very, very interesting then that the team want us to start on the soft compound tyre. I'm going to do the exact opposite. Silverstone, we all know how bad the pit lane is here, so my goal is to try and take the hards as far as I possibly can, maybe even to the wet period, and see if we can make that strategy work. It's a big gamble, but we need a big gamble today in front of the home crowd. Let's do this then. We're ready for the British Grand Prix, lining up P16. The 5 red lights are on. Oh, no hold at all there. It's going to be lights out and away we go. And I think Gabriel Bortoleto has been a bit caught out by that one. We're going to be 4 wide on the run down in towards turn 1 temporarily. So Albon very, very slow into that first apex. So we're actually going to gain a few spots off the start there down the inside of one of my fellow Brits in Ollie Behrman. Of course, 5 British drivers on this grid currently, if you include Callum Voisin. But are we going to see Lewis Hamilton take a record-extending 10th home race victory here at Silverstone? That'll be absolute scenes this weekend there, but nice and clean and tidy off the start. just got to try and obviously defend from Albon. We have very, very good pace in Austria. But of course, yeah, that hasn't quite been the same here as well. Getting a little bit of a wobble on. Trying to get some temperature into those hard tyres early on. But we all know Silverstone, this place is really about the DRS. So we've just got to try and stick within a second of Behrman. I will be interested to see kind of what the AI straight line speed is around here. It's all heavy with fuel, a little bit wide through the old turn 1. Yuki Tsunoda, oh, I thought about going for a move in towards Maggots and Beckett's on lap 1. There actually runs very wide through the exit of the corner, so clearly got all out of shape in his Red Bull, and Ollie Behrman's going to try and pounce on that opportunity then to elevate himself one step closer to your top 10. Here comes Albon down round our outside. We know how good that Williams can be. Oh, in a straight line there as well. Really give him a big old squeeze. As Liam Lawson now. We are just getting attacked from all angles at the start of this one, but we have held on. And somehow, despite all of that, we're up 3 places on lap 1. That's not reassuring then. A rain not showing up on the team's radar early on. Normally, you'd be hoping they'd be telling us like 15 minutes away or something like that. So we've got yellows out. I believe that might be a car behind us. No idea. Couldn't see anything on the mini-map as to what is going on. Oh, it's Jack Doohan. That engine going up in a big, big way for the Alpine. And Jack Doohan then is going to be our first casualty of the afternoon. So I guess we lost P13 to Lawson. And immediately they'll gain it back again. AI, though, the mediums are much, much quicker than the hards early on. So yeah, this is going to be a struggle. Oh, there we go. I think Esteban Ocon. Yep, Ocon into the pit lane then at the end of lap 8. So I don't think it's going to be long before we see some of the medium compound runners into the pits as well. As we make our way through the final, through the first couple of corners. Yeah, I think it is only Ocon that's come in then. So that Haas car really struggling on his tyres. I'm going to be quite sad when Lawson pits because he's just been dragging us along perfectly. And annoyingly as well, Ocon now has unleashed Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who I think is going to struggle less to get by. And here comes Kimi Antonelli almost immediately to the inside. Or down at the final few corners. He thought about it. Like I said, I would have thought he's diving into the pits at the end of this lap. No, he doesn't. So is Esteban Ocon on a 2-stop strategy then? Of course, that rain, if it arrives by the end of the afternoon, could throw up some surprises anyway. So that might be a really good choice by Haas. Of course, don't worry about the tyre wear. Just try and obviously, not stretch both stints and aim to only do about 70% of the Grand Prix on a 1-stop. Once we get out of the loop, we'll try and ask for another update on the weather. But yeah, I mean, Sainz as well in his Williams. He's starting to go a little bit backwards now, as I think he's beginning to struggle a bit more. Let's try and use a bit of battery then. Let's listen in. Oh, no, that's not the one.
No threat of rain for the time being. Conditions look good. Dries definitely seem like the fastest tyre at the moment.
So teams still don't see the weather on the radar then, and well, we are getting slowly closer to our pit window, so that is not good. Oh, I just missed the shift there. Are we going to see Kimi Antonelli? Oh, I thought he'd go to the inside, but he tried to have a look around our outside down at the old turn 1. We won't get a repeat of Hamilton Verstappen. Oh yeah, Antonelli this time around will wave goodbye to him. Mercedes man doing a very good job on that set of the soft compound tyres to have taken him as far as he has. Is he going to peel into the pit lane? Yep, immediately though gets around me and will dive in. So, yeah, I mean, the medium runners are still extending that stint a little bit further as we were kind of expecting. It's just been very, very... I am loving it that in F1 25 the strategies are a bit more split up. There goes Leclerc as well in his Ferrari. So Verstappen's got even more breathing room now. We've got more and more cars peeling in there. Ollie Behrman, Pierre Gasly, Oscar Piastri, George Russell. There's Verstappen. That's the big one. So Verstappen has come back out ahead of me in this race. And I assume, yeah, Liam Lawson is not going to get in the way of the Dutchman then, but he's already gained a pit stop margin over us at this stage of the afternoon. Again, have we got any weather update?
Okay, radar is clear. Weather is looking good for now. Okay, dry.
Still no rain at the moment. So here comes Lewis Hamilton down the inside at the end of the Wellington Straight. And yes, certainly nothing we can do to hold the Ferrari back there. Oh, Verstappen span! Lewis Hamilton drove through him, I'm pretty certain. What on earth was that? But Lewis Hamilton then. So effective lead of the Grand Prix. Verstappen, a big, big error in front of his rival's home crowd as Charles Leclerc tried to have a look down the inside of the old turn 1. Definitely was not expecting him to kind of try and stick with that one, but Verstappen has maybe thrown away a race victory today. And Lewis Hamilton, well, he will be smiling under the helmet of that Ferrari car. Could his first win with the Maranello squad come at home?
10 to 15 minutes.
That's what we want to hear. I was hoping the rain would come a little bit sooner, but we've just got to keep trying to extend this stint. Oh, there we go. Tyre warning light has just flashed up then, but we know that rain is meant to be arriving fairly soon. We are just going to be a sitting duck for a few laps here in this race. I know if we went with the normal strategy, there just wouldn't be a real chance of points today. So we've had to try and roll the dice a little bit. Lando Norris moving up though back into P3 here. Doesn't mean some of these faster AI going over 2 seconds a lap quicker. Oh no, I can't help but feel George Russell. George Russell to the outside of us. Will he cleanly make it by? Yes, he will, as Verstappen. Surely not to the inside. Oh, the old turn one. Yes, he does. And we are forced to back out of that one then.
Make a mistake.
Wheel to wheel. Oh, in towards the next couple of corners as well there, as Max Verstappen, he is clearly driving angry right now. He's annoyed with the mistake he made earlier on in the race. Luckily, he will give me some DRS for a change. But yeah, I mean, Sonoda Piastri, we've still got about 7 seconds back to the final cars in the points. So we just need to try and hang on, you know, as best as we can. Oh, team are telling me we got a box. I'm just not sure when this rain is finally going to arrive.
Just over 10 minutes time. Rain in 10 minutes.
I just don't think we're going to see it.
Tire at the moment.
Yeah, we'll cut our losses right now, I think, and we'll dive into the pit lane then at the end of that lap. Second weekend in a row I've done that, man. That is annoying. If that costs us an opportunity at points today, I'm going to be really upset. Luckily, obviously in Austria, it ended up making no difference at all, because we were going to lose to Carlos Sainz, and then we lost to Carlos Sainz anyway, after I pit and served it. But as we make our way then down the pit lane, of course, 37 miles an hour here. It is a slow old trundle.
Front right wheel. I know it's not ideal, but let's try and put that behind us and get back into this race.
To be fair, 4 seconds actually inside this game isn't the worst pit stop in the world, but if we now start seeing rain, okay, I'm going to be really upset. Ooh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows. I believe that's the car behind us.
Let's go.
Is that Lance Stroll going? I've got no idea who that is. I can't see on the minimap. I think it's... Oh no, it's our teammate. Dennis Hauger, second race this year. Well, it looks like our teammate's going to have a mechanical failure then, and that's not what we needed at home.
8.0 seconds.
I'm staggered I haven't had one yet inside this game, as Esteban Ocon now has used the DRS to try and find a way past Lance, and has got inside my DRS range. Oh, what is Ocon doing? He gets down the inside, and then just never turns in for the corner. That was a little bit weird, but if you told me at the start of this weekend our battle today was going to be with Lance Stroll and Esteban Ocon, I probably would have cried. Well, I'm honestly quite happy that I replaced Lance Stroll inside our driver career mode, because he is useless inside F1 25. Yes, I'm well aware it's pretty accurate to his real-life performances, but unfortunately for me today, that Aston Martin just too quick. This has really exposed the car's weaknesses, this Silverstone circuit. I'm just hoping that we can pull out the gap on Isaac Hadjar. We've got 8.5 seconds to Bortoletto, so we should beat him by the end. But the fact that Ocon and Stroll are walking away from me is ever so slightly concerning.
I'm afraid you've been given a time penalty for that last incident, mate.
Maybe I shouldn't have kept my foot to the floor there. That was a bit of an error. I've ran wide a couple of times through the old turn one, and well, that time around it has absolutely cost us. Not a chance at a point or anything like that, but it might now mean I lose a spot to Nico Hülkenberg by the end of the afternoon. But one lap to go then, here from Silverstone. As I said, this has been a quintessential early season F1 game, British Grand Prix. It's alright once you're a bit further down and the car's upgraded and you've obviously got basically unlimited ERS, but early on the AI definitely still have an advantage over you. There's Isaac Hadjar into the pit lane then, so the rain now, we can see it starting to fall around this circuit, so how will that affect things on this final lap? Is Hadjar going to potentially be able to fight his way back through and up the order there somewhat, as Lewis Hamilton though in towards the final corners of the British Grand Prix. He has won here 9 times before. We have not seen him win a Grand Prix though in red so far this year. But of course, if he had to pick somewhere, it was always going to be back at home. A record-extending 10th home race victory for Lewis Hamilton here at Silverstone. He has dominated this venue throughout so many years. Through the final corner, Hamilton will win yet again. And I'm sure the home crowd are absolutely loving seeing that after a tense final few laps of this race.
Intermediates on now. Come on, let's go and switch over if you need to.
We're on the last lap of the Grand Prix, Mark. I could not care less about making a switch to intermediate tyres right now, but I'm still just hoping we can stay ahead of Gabriel Bortoleto by the end of the Grand Prix. We should have stayed ahead of Hulkenberg had I not tried to take old turn 1 completely flat out last lap. But through the final few corners then...
The car ahead by 4.0 seconds.
Not sure how that's that relevant with just a handful of corners to go in this GP. I am going to try something a little bit cheeky though. I want to see whether it's quicker to dive into the pit lane or not on the final lap of a Grand Prix inside this game. We're not going to score points anyway, so we might as well risk it. But in towards the final corner then, are we going to jump Lance Stroll on the run to the line?
Okay,
I've got no idea.
And bring it home.
And extending his already record-breaking winning record, it's Lewis Hamilton to the line for victory.
Taking victory at their home circuit as well. What a place to do it. The fans are loving it. They're lapping it up. They have been all weekend long, and they have delivered what the fans wanted to see.
There's room for 3 on their podium, but only ever 1 right at the top. Let the celebrations begin. It's a familiar sight in Formula 1, and here it is once again. Lewis Hamilton with the trophy held high, celebrating a masterful victory.
Well, there we are then. Lewis Hamilton by 2 seconds ahead of Charles Leclerc, once again claiming victory. 10 wins here at Silverstone. That is just a mind-boggling tally around this circuit. Charles Leclerc P2 ahead of Lando Norris and George Russell, so 3 Brits inside your top 4 there. Verstappen, he will be gutted with the mistake he made there. But still be out Yuki Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Alonso Sainz and Pierre Gasly inside your top 10 there. Another weekend where Kimi Antonelli unfortunately unable to score. Those 13 seconds worth of penalties I think made about no difference come the end of the GP. I think we might have taken a second out of Stroll by diving into the pits on that final lap. But yeah, no difference there. Still stuck in a Sauber sandwich. Isaac Hadjar, that last lap pit stop made no difference for him, with just Hauger and Doohan failing to see the checkered flag. It does though mean Lando Norris, for the first time in, well, it feels like forever, has extended his gap over Verstappen in the World Championship race. 39 points clear now. Leclerc still in third, just 9 ahead of Hamilton as Oscar Piastri gets dropped down to P5. Russell back ahead of Tsunoda. Alonso closes in on myself and Kimi Antonelli there. And you can see Carlos Sainz as well, just bringing in the points slowly but surely this season as well. Ollie Behrman gutted to miss out yet again on his first points of the year. McLaren 34 ahead of Ferrari after another great win for the Tifosi there. Red Bull still in third ahead of Mercedes. We are 1 point ahead of Williams now, so I think they are likely going to jump us pretty soon. The same for Aston Martin and maybe Haas as well, to be completely honest there. But 43 points, we will try and hang on for as long as we can. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we'll be back tomorrow then ready for, I believe, the Belgian Grand Prix.